Vertical, horizontal, flip. Oh God. What did I do? Hi, this is Sarah Nichols, and this is the Poets in Pajamas reading series. And I would like to thank Minadora and Sam for having me tonight. And I'm going to be reading work from my new chapbook, She May Be a Saint, which was published in December of last year, and my forthcoming chapbook, Dreamland for Keeps, which is going to be published next year by Porkbelly Press. So with that, I'll start, and I'm going to be reading from She May Be a Saint first. This first poem is called Once I Was, and I'll just get to it. Once I was. Call me the Duchess of Nothing. I came to be identified with it. From under my mother's heart, I drafted a fictitious life, a novel in another language. I poke at the carbon of it, an end to the writing. Words to rid me of me. My poems are pretty short, so I think this is going to go by quickly, I hope. The next one is the title poem, She May Be a Saint, and I'll just read it. She may be a saint. I am the angel of morphia. My assistants count the pills, Poppy sleepy. My share of harmful bodies, a disturbance of emptiness. I am the saint of couldn't sleep for a week, of skin itched, days numbered nodding, the times you said you wouldn't go back, the best of nurses. The third poem that I'm going to read is called Myself Again, and I just wanted to say that these poems are all, it's a collection of centos, and I use the work of Sylvia Plath and C.D. Wright as my source material, and this is what these poems are the result of my collaging the work of those two extraordinary women together. So myself again. Some nights I sleep with my dress on. It darkens and tarnishes. I'm married in it. Old happenings erased. The body does not come into it at all. The body is a suspect. It cannot afford to remain naked. Disguise its cries with a cut paper shadow, or face it with unguarded silence. The next poem that I'm going to read is called Experiences Quietly Humming, and this is the first poem that I wrote for this collection back in the fall of 2013, and I shared it with someone who had CD Write as a teacher when they were doing their MFA at Brown, and I really regret not sharing this with CD Write before she died. You always think that you have more time, and I regret that I didn't reach out to her, because her student said that she thought that Wright probably would have liked it. But anyway, this was really where this book starts. Experiences quietly humming. I had a head full of bees, a gullible head untouched by their animosity. How can I let them out? I won't say I like being in prison, and I want to go home to the wax house. I was supposed to be a virgin, but I'm the magician's girl who does not flinch. She is so sweet in a blackout of knives. You wouldn't believe she had did all the things they say she did. But with her lion red body, her wings of glass, she is more terrible than she ever was. The terriblest part upon release. And the last poem that I'm going to read from She May Be a Saint is called Her First Dream of Him. Her first dream of him. God bit me. Serpent kissy, unforgiving. He shrieks, full of wings. A word of devotions, ciphers that spread. They threaten a heaven inside of me. The next dream. Thank you. And the other poems that I'm going to read tonight are from my forthcoming book, Dreamland for Keeps, and this book happened because of a 31 poems in 31 days challenge that I participated in last July, and these are all found poems taken from James Ellroy's novel, The Black Dahlia. And it's a book that I've loved for a long time. I love film noir, and this is kind of my response to both of those things, both Ellroy's novel and the noir genre. And his book is based on an infamous murder that happened in 1947 to Elizabeth Short, who was a young woman who was brutally murdered. The case remains unsolved 70 years later, and they called her the Black Dahlia because of how she dressed. She wore all black, and her hair was black. She had dyed it, and but she has no voice in the novel because it's after she's dead. She's seen through the lens of, of her investigators, which are all men, and most of the literature that's been written about it, it's been from that perspective, and I wanted to give Elizabeth Short her voice back, even if it was posthumously. And so this is the first poem, called What They Called Me. I only wanted my name in lights. Nice girl, easy, a dreamer, tramp, round heels, Elizabeth, promiscuous, Betty, movie struck, the dead girl, Jane Doe #1, the Black Dahlia. I had many names. This is Do You Know Her? The people who say that dying is easy are lying to you. How could they know about the theories that never give me a tomorrow? Or the starfuckers hanging on, telling each other how they know my last days, my last moments, the pinpoint where death rolled up and said my name. I think if I had to pick a favorite poem out of this manuscript, one that I loved how it came out, this one called Dresses, Jewelry, Food, I would say that this is probably my favorite of all the ones that I wrote last July. So this is Dresses, Jewelry, Food. I wanted to be ready. No one tells you what to pack for the trip. I met Cleopatra in the underworld, and she told me that none of it, dresses, jewelry, food, matters down here. Time cures everyone, she says. Whatever you thought you wanted dies or goes away. People worship you or forget. No one knows that until they arrive. This one is called The Next You. Years later, my killer calls me up. He thinks he's doing me a favor, telling me about the world and how it got on without me. No one would know you, he says. No one would know you without me. I'm waiting, he says, waiting for the next you. And there's one left. And I think this is maybe my other favorite of these, because I was able to make a line in here. It was an image that I had made, that I put in another poem, and it really didn't work, but it works here, so I'm really glad that I was able to use it, because sometimes there's always a line and you can't let go of it. You have to find a place for it to rest, and this is what the dark brings me. When I ask, the dark offers me its gifts. A tree of eyes, a hand in a jar, its owner lost. I swallowed a wedding ring once. It tasted like dust and tears, bone and gold. And with that, those are the poems, and so I guess that there is time for a question and answer period. So I guess we'll do that now. Oh, oh, um, I would be happy to answer that. I was typing the response. Um, yes, the Cento form in 2009. I was at the Wesleyan Writers Conference, and I was attending the poetry workshop there, and that year the instructor was Ravi Shankar, and he spoke about this form and saying that it's really quite old, going back to ancient Greece, and the word itself is Latin for patchwork. And I thought that that was such an interesting thing, because I do a lot of collage. Whenever I do visual art, it's usually collage in some form. And so this is kind of, for me, it's doing collage but with language, and but I wondered if I could make a whole book out of that. My first book was non-found poetry. It was all things that I had made up. And so in 2013, I participated in a collaborative project called Pulitzer Remix with 84 other people, and this was sponsored by Found Poetry Review, and each of us was assigned a novel that had won the Pulitzer Prize, and I made found poems out of Philip Roth's American Pastoral, which is one of my favorite novels, and we were told, you can't make these poems about the plot in any way. And so what I had started was I was making poems that really reflected the outline of the story, and so I went back, I redid it, and I've gone on from there, and that was just such, that project opened, I think really opened the door to what I do now, which is largely found poetry. I don't do as many erasures, but I really have not, it's like all of the books since my first one, my second book, the third, She May Be a Saint, and then the one coming up, those are all, it's all found, and it's been a very, very interesting it's been a very interesting process, and so I think that that's it. Thank you. I'll answer Minador's question first about, like, what inspires me. Um, what inspires me the most writing poetry. Um, I think I think that it's like I have to, especially doing found work, it has to be something that I love, or something that has really kind of, I don't know, come to obsess me in some way. I know that my second book, Edie Whispering Poems from Grey Gardens, really came to me and obsessed me. Those were found poems that were taken from the transcripts of the documentary, the 1975 documentary Grey Gardens, and I was watching that one night, and I realized that one of the subjects of the documentary, what she was saying, really had the cadence of poetry, and I said, I want to do that. I want to make this into a series of poems. And when I got a hold of that, I just went. It really was complete immersion in the material. I didn't stop. Well, no, wait, yes, I did stop. I did stop until, I had a chapbook, and I took about a month away from it because I was getting just too involved with it, and I had to take a step back. I know, and it did not feel like work at all. It did not. It was some of the easiest writing I have ever done. And so I think with some of these other books, I know that with the Black Dahlia book, it was a book that I've loved for a long time. I've been fascinated by of the history of the murder and theories about who might have murdered this young woman. And so, again, the opportunity presented itself because I'd always wanted to do some kind of work with that book, and I could not figure out how to do it. And then I had an opportunity to do something, and I decided, okay, this is what it's going to be. And I think with my third, the book that I read for She May Be a Saint, again, Sylvia Plath has been in my life for a very long time as, as an influence, and in terms of her biography, I came to her work when I was pretty young, and for a long time, I felt like you have to be self-destructive in some way in order to be a real writer. And as I've gotten older, I don't feel that that's so much the case, and I've had just a complete shift away from looking at the tragedy of her early death to say, look at her work. Here's someone who had a phenomenal work ethic with their poetry and everything that they did. She was just coming into her own power at the time of her death, her artistic power, and it's so incredible. And with finding out about C.D. Wright, who I really did not, her work was not known to me until 2013. I was looking through the second edition of Norton's Postmodern American Poetry Anthology, and I was really just struck by the excerpts of her work that they had, and I said, I want to do something with this. And that's kind of where it comes from. I don't know, you kind of pick it apart, and I don't know, lately I just completed another little manuscript that was not found poetry. I was responding to the work of Deanne Arbus, and doing ekphrastic poems. And so it's like, kind of like the world comes at me, and I have to filter it out in terms of inspiration. And then I'll address Amy's question. Thank you for watching me. I can work, I don't really multitask well. It's more a thing of, I can write one or two in a day maybe, but to try to do, say, 4 at once, it's just not a thing. It's not something I can do. It's like I focus in on like the one project. And if like secondary things come along, that's fine. But for the most part, it's like it is that one project. It's like that takes precedence over whatever else I might, be doing at the time. And I think that's as much as I can say about that. I sort of wish that I could do more in terms of, all right, I have like one finger on this poem, I'm doing another one, or this and that, and it's just, that's just not how my brain works. I have to focus on the one thing. But maybe one day I'll get to it, and it'll be a multitask thing. But for now, no. Thank you. Oh my God. This was such, yes, this has just been such an interesting, great experience. I've never read into my phone before, but now that I've done it, I'll maybe do it again. And thank you everyone for coming and listening to me read. And I'll just say goodnight, and I will read more soon. Thank you. Good night.